Hi, my name is Jamie, and on my left here is Jan, and we're here to talk to you about the project that we're doing here. It's a web-based 2D platformer. Um, in order to make the game a success, we first had to make some goals. We decided we could conceptualize and create a working vertically scrolling 2D platformer, since it seemed to be simple enough in terms of mechanics. We also found it necessary for it to look appealing as well as to play appealingly. So we discussed the artwork for the game, which we agreed would be a simple color scheme in order to get it completed within the time constraints that we had. And our schedule is until the 16th we're going to work on the art and get sort of started more on the scripting. And from that point on until the 30th, we're going to work on the scripting and the animations. And then after that, just finishing touches and play checks and then final submission. So, and Jan's going to talk about the scope doc that was.
And the scope document that I made was for a game called Diver Down. It's an underwater-based game where you have to collect air to stay alive and avoid objects. We scrapped this idea because making the character float could be hard to do with the code, and the animations would be hard to animate with the breathing and the swimming.
And the scope doc we ended up going with was mine. Its working title is Illusionary Generations. It's built around like going into a dream world of like a family, and I reckon this would allow for a lot of real world research where like I could look at like what people have actually like dreamed up and like take inspiration from that. And I felt it was an easier thing if we were going to work in a group, then it would give each person sort of their own sort of creative freedom over their own level, whilst also keeping it consistent with everybody else's. And the processing requirements on Windows, there's the internet browsers, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Opera, and let's be honest, nobody uses internet before. Then the system requirements is anything post-prehistoric, which is Windows XP or higher. Then on Apple it's much the same, only the operating system is Mac OS X 10.5 or newer, and the graphics card is pretty much anything made after 2004. The existing competitors, I looked into this, and I thought the best thing to look at was probably web-based live games, that seemed to be popular on, say, Miniclip and Addicted Games. And what I came across was Blim, which was similarly surreal to the levels we're making, and Key and Shield, which sort of had the brighter colors and again like the surreal theme. Yeah, and they seem to do well on their respective websites, so I decided to take inspiration. Then Jan's going to talk about the intended audience.
Yeah, the intended audience is for PC players at 7 and up due to monsters and some of the complexity of the levels of the puzzles and the bosses.
And another thing that shaped the rating was in my level. There's a monster that comes out of the closet, so that could be like possibly frightening for kids. So. Right, the narrative. The narrative of our game is simple enough. A family has been overtaken by a supernatural phenomenon that afflicts the entire household. The curse causes each of the family members to be trapped within the dreams they have, and they're unable to rest peacefully until they meet the oddly specific requirements of each dream. The so the dreams that the family must reverse. Mine is the kid's dream. Its overall appearance is very colourful, very colourful and bright, keeping in line with the theme of like the dream of the kid. The proposed, yes, right, and then I was going to talk about this.
My level is mainly dark colours, but it's also quite bland at the same time, with some objects being used repetitively to kind of fill in empty spaces. For the audio, I'll be using Reaper and also some Ableton. I was thinking of using some strings as well as MIDI keyboard to add to the sound. This first level will start with uplifting tones to a more serious tone to the last level. I want audio for the beginning of the levels and the finishing of the levels, and for death animations and pickups as well, and for jumping possibly as well.
And I'm just going to talk about my level for a bit. As I said before, it's quite bright and colourful in appearance. Like the composition is quite like childish. You've got like mountains with faces on it and stuff like that. It's the easiest of the levels. Our original idea was to have each level get more difficult as the levels progress. As each age range faced like more difficult problems in their everyday life that would affect their dream. For the NPC boss type characters, I've got an idea for a beehive that you would encounter, and the bees would sort of swarm around the beehive, and then if you get within a certain distance of them, they make, forgive the pun, a beeline for you. And then the main antagonistic presence is the ghost that comes out of comes out from the closet of the kid's bedroom and causes general mayhem throughout the level. Its main function is to possess the volcano that is in the dream part of the level, and that brings in a time mechanic, which means you got to get to the top of the level before the volcano erupts and stuff like that. Yeah, and my research was based on real kids' dreams. Like in the early stages, I was thinking of having a night light item that can dispel the dark parts of the level, so that it wouldn't be as intimidating, and the difficulty would be lower in those parts of the levels. Flying seemed to be a thing that occurred most times in kids' real dreams, so I tried to incorporate that as much as I could. What I ended up coming up with was a mechanic where you sort of like float on clouds that get like affected by a wind mechanic. That was pretty much the closest I could get to the flying mechanic of that game. And then that's the tree with the beehive that I've made so far. Right, this is my mood board. This is the the character design that I came up with initially. And over here we've got the references. Originally I was thinking of making it in 3D, but I decided with my current level of skill that would take a lot longer than I was given. So I decided to just work on it in Illustrator instead. I've made a bit of a run cycle. I've not put complete features on it yet, but it's in development. Then our main, my main level here is you start off in a sort of different version of the kids' room, and then you start on the bed. You get on the cupboards onto a shelf on top of the door, then on top of the closet. When you do that, the ghost will appear and go up to the very top. then you have to get on the flowers. Now, what I'm implementing at the moment is I'm going to have platforms up here, and then I'm going to have this cloud over here be sort of like an elevator up, and then you're going to like go up through the clouds on top near the volcano, which is then going to be possessed, and you're going to have to like be very careful about where you go, because I was thinking of having like little bits of lava coming out that could hurt the player. And then you get to the door, and the inspirations for most of the level was there's an animated short that Pixar did about like talking volcanoes, so I took like inspiration from that, and to get an idea for how to draw it, I took inspiration from like real mountains, and clouds pretty much self-explanatory. For the main level design, I took inspiration from Yoshi's Island. So you have like the bushes in the foreground and like the rest of the level in the sort of like background. And for the floor and the wood on the objects, I took inspiration from like stock textures that I was able to find on wood. Now, Jan's going to talk about his level.
Yeah, the adult dream, its darkening appearance is going to be the final and hardest level of the game, with a main boss that fires projectiles, and there will be other NPCs that drop projectiles. The main gameplay element is to collect paychecks and complete the level before your wallet runs out. You will lose money every 3 seconds until your wallet runs out, which counts as a game over. And the research is based on real stress and worries. Some of the research I did was for some of the elements in my game, for some of the objects, on what people dream about as well, and the collection element. This is the move forward for the game and my level. I took some of the ideas from the windows, the Georgian style windows from Dublin, and the shutters, and the desk in the receptionist area with the elevators. I plan on having the boss at the top of the screen with these moving platforms, while the boss will throw projectiles at you and you have to dodge the projectiles. I want to add a collection element into the game, like a shield, so you can reflect the projectiles being thrown at you back at the boss. And that's it.
And we were thinking, where can we improve? I was thinking like scaling down the complexity of the levels. Like there were some early stage ideas that I had that really weren't going to work within the time constraints that we had. So I think like more revision on that would be beneficial. Then not focusing so much on the art elements. I found myself like while making the assets, I found myself like working more on the art than on the coding, and I'm gonna like prove that. That's why we missed the schedule like that.
We plan on using kind of basic scripts to not get too complicated. We want to make more similarities between both levels.
Right, and that is the end of our presentation. Any questions?
First off, I think great idea. I think good idea because they get out of games. I think you do your own thing. Let's play a game where we let them skip the green, you like there or something else. We've got to use the piece of the green to solve it to get out. I think it's great. Is there anything like that already?
Not that I saw. There's one upcoming game called, well, literally called Dreams. But I can imagine. Like,
that's a great idea. That's because it's really set up for a puzzle-based game right there. It's really good. You really could have like symbolism and all that. That's great. But anyway, for what you're doing now, it's good. It's good as a starting idea. I was worried at the beginning you've very little work done. You know what I mean? But you have something done. You have some art there. But as you say there, you can start focusing now on getting the levels built up. And this presentation is very one-sided. there's 3 in the group, and I know Stephen can't be here, but you know, it's very one-sided here, and that kind of, you know, paints a picture in itself. But you have been doing some work there as well, I can see that. So your progress date, yeah, you need to just go see, to take a brain checks in where you are right now, look at your schedule. Do you have a schedule?
Yeah.
You had a little, yeah, like basic one at the beginning there, so have a look at that. I need to maybe break down the workload now and see what's going to happen. Yeah, I think, again, you're kind of like final slide there, start to simplify the ideas now, you know, because like, it was very abstract at the beginning and hard to kind of get a grasp, but I think you're starting to think right way now about that. And you've just got 2 levels, just a kids level and a,
We're hoping to be a time.
because again, there's like 2 scope documents there, where's the third, did Stephen provide?
Steve, but we don't have that.
Yeah, there is,
You just didn't give it to us, or?
Like, I don't think he's done it, but it's.
Okay, all right, okay, that's another thing. Okay, so there's 2 levels anyway, as things stand, is that right? And if Stephen's back and forth, then it's going to be a 3rd level?
possibly.
Okay.
We're thinking to get time, maybe we're coming bonus.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so again, you need to go find out what the story is there, okay, that needs to, I'll help you with that, so give me a shout about that, will you? And then just consistency in the game idea, so you know, yours is portrayed as a sort of dream-like sort of thing, and yours is kind of like very kind of set of the dream, like, you know, it's about stress and worry. How are you going to bring out that idea a bit better and kind of get the kind of thing more consistent, so it doesn't feel like you're going from one level to another, like 2 different games, you know what I mean? So you don't just do this angry boss sort of thing like that. You know what I mean? If you can help each other with that, if you combine your ideas and think that might make it all better. You know, just a bit more consistency. Okay, and do you have any questions?
No, just the same as Ross is saying. Just the schedule, I think, overall for all of the groups for next week, just to focus on what we need to, what's left from the business side, the stakeholders and the risk analysis, all of that, and anything else to be outstanding. So just to focus on that. Get the 2 of you on board, and hopefully your 3rd member will be back as well. But either way, we'll get it done, you know.
Okay. All right, thanks, lads.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.